What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This time around, we're here to talk about Dragon Ball The Breakers. Brought to you by Bandai Namco. I've been a big Toei Animation fan for quite some time, even since the original release of Dragon Ball Z back in the late 1990s. I was a huge freak of a fan, and I still am to this day. I can't wait until Dragon Ball Superheroes comes out here in the United States, August 19th. I can't wait to go see this movie. But with that being said, that's for another video, and we are here to talk about the Dragon Ball The Breakers. The Dragon Ball The Breakers. The amazing beta that just ended on the 6th. I spent as much possible time with it as I could. There was only so many time slots of it actually going live, but I do have to say I am very intrigued and very impressed with what I saw. So over the years, Bandai Namco has really pushed and made as many possible fantastic Dragon Ball games as they can. So with that said, we have seen a ton of amazing Bandai Namco games come out over the last few years of Xenoverse, Xenoverse 2. Of course, you know, we had Dragon Ball FighterZ, and then we had the most recent Dragon Ball Kakarot, Dragon Ball Kakarot, which was probably the most expansive on the video game aspect or video game side of Dragon Ball. It was the first open world style RPG for the game series as a whole. I really love the game. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely make sure to check it out. But with that said, The Breakers is something very different, and it is the perfect game for streamers. It is a perfect different style of gameplay for those different style of gamers. So over the last few years, we have seen a ton of these survival games pretty much run amok in the games industry. Death by Daylight and many other indie titles have been running amok, and people have been having so much fun. So whenever The Breakers was first announced, I was very excited to see them going a different direction with this style of Dragon Ball game, especially the fact that The Breakers is just straight up a survival game. It's fun. It has a ton of replay factor, and one of the reasons that this is that we still don't know what else is going to be coming to this game. So at this point in time, let's get into it first. The Dragon Ball Breakers beta was a little simplistic in the perspective of like where you can play and what you could do. There wasn't a ton of information still as of what is going to happen in the future. But if you don't know what Breakers is, you face off, basically you have 7 survivors, and the Raiders, or the Raider is your enemy. So this Raider could either be Cell, Frieza, or eventually, hopefully, more. Maybe Majin Buu, maybe even Broly, maybe some of the other great enemies that we have seen in the Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super series. I would love to see more Raiders be added over time. So you have the Cell and Frieza as your Raiders, and you are a survivor or a Raider. So once you jump into the match, you can either choose to be a Raider or a Survivor. Now, choosing the difference between the Raider and Survivor isn't as simple as just saying, okay, well, you know, I'm going to play as the Raider, and then you get to play as them. You basically set yourself in. You choose that you prefer to play as a Raider, and then you are either going to be chosen then, or you'll eventually get your chance. So I think most of the times I saw myself getting to play as a Raider. After I think I had 3 different matches, then I usually always got it. After I had 3 matches as a Survivor, and I hadn't played as a Raider yet, just as long as I had set myself as my main thing is I wanted to play as a Raider, then I would usually get to play as the Raider on my 3rd or 4th match. But with that said, in this game, it is literally survive or die. As a Raider, your goal is to defeat all of the survivors and stop them from starting up the Super Time Machine. The Super Time Machine will completely eliminate the time paradox that is going on. And the crazy thing is that the Raider has so many different ways of stopping these survivors from starting the super time machine. You can either, as a Raider, go around and, just destroy as many survivors as you can, or you can actually take it down in a much different way. Instead of destroying the survivors, you can let them gain or collect as many of these power keys as possible. Once the survivors collect 5 of these power keys, the Super Time Machine startup system pops up. And when the startup system pops up, as a Raider, it is your goal to destroy that startup system. If you don't, and they start the startup system, then the Super Time Machine starts and you lose the match. But there are many different ways to still win if this Raider decides to destroy the Super Time Machine startup system. So if, let's just say, Frieza flies over and he destroys the Super Time Machine startup system, there's still many ways there's still at least 2 ways that you can win the match. Either you have gained enough power crystals throughout the match to where you and the other 7 survivors can transform into one of the heroes as of, Goku or whoever you have leveled up enough to unlock, like Goku, Vegeta, Yamcha, Piccolo, Krillin, whoever. And all 7 of you go over and take out this Raider. Now, I have seen this, and it happened to me as well. I was playing as Cell, and I think there was 4 Raiders left, or 4 survivors left, and I had about 3/4 of my health left, and I was just demolished by these survivors, and they ended up winning because they killed me. So you can either kill the Raider, or if that Raider has destroyed your Super Time Machine startup system, you also have the ability closer to the end of the match of being able to get into a time machine that randomly pops up and escape. Now, you can either be a good citizen and get that time machine and let some of your fellow players jump on there with you, or you can be a jerk, like I have seen multiple times in this beta, and just take the time machine for yourself. And then once that time machine is taken, the time machine only pops up, after a certain amount of time. So those survivors have to basically survive until another one pops up. Now, mind you, if this Raider destroys the time machine, then that's it. Those time machines ain't popping back up. You got to face off against the Raider and kill him, or the game is over. So, with that said, that's kind of an overview of what the game is really about. It's just survive or die, really. You can either survive by starting up the Super Time Machine and, erasing this temporal, paradox, or you can just straight up try as a team and kill this Raider, or you can escape through a time machine. But as the Raider, it is just your goal to stop these survivors. So I have to say, there's these 2 Raiders that you get to play as in the beta. You can either play as Cell, or you can play as Frieza. So Cell starts out at a little bit of a disadvantage. He starts out in his cocooned stage. And when he is in his insect cocoon stage, he can literally only jump and kind of knock someone or kind of hit them with his tail. But at that point in time, you have to run around and find some of these, civilians that are around, just random NPC civilians, and finish them off. So once you finish them off, you eventually get to the point to where you can go into, first form Cell. And then, eventually, as you take out either some more of these random NPCs or take out survivors, you get more powerful, and eventually you can power up to, perfect Cell. Now, with Frieza, he has a little bit more of an advantage than Cell does, because right off the bat, he starts out at first form, and he's floating around in his little, ship. And he also has some of the he has some of his main bad guys with him. And, he kind of, I'm not going to lie, kind of in Frieza form cheats just a little bit. It is a good callback to the original Dragon Ball Z series, though, because you have Zarbon and Dodora, which are basically, his henchmen from the Frieza Elite that are always right there with him during the Frieza saga when Frieza's trying to find the Dragon Balls. But you can actually use them to your advantage. You can, get Zarbon or Dodora to actually attack multiple different characters. You have the ability of, using your, finger cannon or whatever to take other characters down. But as you progress, of course, Frieza, just like Cell, gets more powerful. And he eventually gets to the point of being powerful enough that, as just the regular civilian, you ain't going to really have much of a chance. One of the cool things that the Raiders can do, of course, as well, is take out multiple areas of the maps. So as you're playing the game, once you get leveled to a certain extent, most of the times, I think with Cell, you have the ability of destroying an area of the map, not in your first form, but like your normal form, not your cocooned form. But you have, like in Cell's first form, he has the ability of taking out areas of the map. Now in as Frieza, I think in the second form as well, technically the second form, he has the ability of taking out areas of the map as well. So once those areas of the map are gone, there's not, like, if there is a power key in that area that you're supposed to get to help the startup system kind of start up faster, it ain't gonna happen. If those areas are destroyed, you cannot get those power keys anymore. So it's going to take you and the other survivors much longer to start up the Super Time Machine. So the Super Time Machine can start up faster when those 5 power keys are collected. But as I said, if those areas are destroyed and you have not found those power keys yet, then it is going to take you much longer to get that started. So there's a very big possibility that either you're going to just have to face down either Cell or Frieza, the Raider, directly head-to-head, or you're going to have to, try and escape. Because if not, if it's going to take a long time, it happened multiple times with me during this beta that we're trying to, me and I think 2 or 3 others are over there trying to get the startup. And even with 2 or 3 others, with not having all 5 of the power keys activated, it still took quite some time to get the startup machine going. And eventually we just had to break away and escape as quick as possible. So, with that said, this is a really cool concept of a game. I know I've kind of been rambling, but this is a really cool concept of a game. The survivor aspect of this game is really, really fun. And it has that Dragon Ball Z-esque style to it. Not only can you customize your character, but you can also upgrade your character over time to have more powerful abilities when they transfer into that Dragon Ball Heroes stage. But with that said, it's so much fun being chased by these raiders. When the raiders get closer to you, your heartbeat starts kind of, you can hear it on the speaker or on your headphones or whatever. It's doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. And as you're trying to run away, if the raider is too close, your character is sprinting, running away, he's falling all over himself because, they have it programmed, of course, in the game to where you're like, I'm just a survivor. I don't have any superpowers. But I think this is just a really cool concept of a game. I think that there is a lot of potential with this beta as well, or with this game as well, to add, new heroes that you can play as, new areas that you can play in, as well as adding new raiders. And one of the raiders that I would love to see in this game, of course, would be Broly. It would be freaking-tastic to have a Broly, like the classic Broly. I mean, I like the Dragon Ball Super Broly, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about straight up classic psychotic Broly chasing you down, and as he's chasing you down, you hear him like across the map yelling, Kakarot! That would be so cool. But like I said, this game has so much potential in the streaming market. It has so much potential for replayability, and it has so much potential for content in the long run. Now, I don't know what their plans are with this over time, but I do have to say, I think that there is some really great things in the works for this game. Now, whenever it comes down to what I didn't like about the game, I will say this. One thing that I did not like, now this is just the beta, so I'm going to give them somewhat of a grace because this is the beta. But like I have seen in other online titles recently, there seems to be somewhat of an issue with matchmaking. Now, I don't know how much it really affected my gameplay, but there were times that I would actually play as the Raider, and my Raider was like a level 2 or level 3, and the survivors that were actually in this game were like a level 23. There was one match I jumped in. One was a level 23. The other one was a level 14. The other one was a level 16. You know, if my Raider is only at a level 2 or 3, I'm not going to have a lot of power to really take them out. And I saw it multiple times that while I was playing this, I'm playing as, you know, Cell in Form 3. And, I mean, you would think Cell in Form 3, he's pretty powerful. He's not perfect Cell, but he's pretty powerful. But there was 2 cases to where I'm playing as him. I have 75% of my health. There's 4 survivors left. But these guys are level 23. So I don't know exactly what their power upgrades are. I don't know how long they're able to stay as the supers. I don't know what their, you know, super abilities power level is, of course. But, I mean, they straight up murked me. I mean, it was a bloodbath. And I feel that I'm not saying it in the perspective of like it was an unfair advantage. I just wish, I hope that when the game releases, there are better matchmaking aspects, you know, level-based matchmaking. You know, if I jump into a game and it's my first time to play as a Raider and I'm in the same exact lobby as 7 survivors that are all level 20, it's not going to be a fair match. You know, that's just my opinion. It's not going to be a fair match, and it's going to make it to where playing as the Raider is not as exciting as playing as a survivor. Because once you play as the Raider, you're basically trying to survive yourself from the survivors because you know all of them are like, you know, 19 levels higher than you. So I did see this happen a couple of times, and it was irritating because I had finally got to play as the Raider, and when I did, it was very short-lived because the survivors were so much higher levels of power than I was. It just wasn't even a match. So with that said, this is kind of my thoughts and review of the beta. I think there's so much potential with this game. I think there's a lot to offer with this game. There's some really cool aspects, and I think you know, over time, Dragon Ball The Breakers could be the survivor game on the market, one of the most fun survivor games on the market, because it is really a fun game. There is the issue with the matchmaking. I didn't really have much of a problem with the control schemes. Kind of have my little pet peeves about the camera style, the, you know, to the right or to the left kind of floating third-person style, but that's nothing to really bark about. The biggest thing, though, is the matchmaking. If the matchmaking could be closer in the perspective of a level-based matchmaking, I think that I would enjoy it more, and it would be easier for me to get used to playing as a Raider or get used to playing as a survivor, because there was a few times, too, that, you know, we'd jump in a match and we're survivors. You know, I think there was one time I was like level 5. Everybody else on my team was like level 6, level 7. But, you know, some of these people are, you know, have so much more time on their hands to be able to play these betas during these time frames. And they're, you know, the Raider is such a higher level. I mean, they just destroy everybody. Like, it doesn't matter if they're in first form, second form, third form, or fourth form. they're still going to just destroy everybody. Cell and Frieza both are huge, murderous characters in this game. So, of course, each one of these levels, as they level up, is going to have a more intense and more powerful attack. So if you're a low level and you're still trying to get used to the game, I just feel like there should be some type of balance when it comes down to that level-based matchmaking to make it somewhat easier for you to get used to and train in this type of matchmaking. Maybe a bigger practice mode or whatever. But with that said, I still think the Breakers could be one of the best Survivor games of 2022-2023. So let's just get excited, and hopefully we'll see more characters coming out like Broly, Majin Buu, and maybe some others in the long run. But this is Celeb, and these are my thoughts on the Dragon Ball The Breaker, or Breakers, beta. Make sure to check back at CellandLinks.com soon enough for our review of this amazing, different version of a Dragon Ball title. Thank you so much for giving us a chance and opportunity to check this out, Bandai Namco. We love you very much. We love you guys as well for watching this video and, of course, checking us out at CellandLinks.com. Talk to you soon. Peace out.